So I need to share a little glimmer of hope with all of you. Something that happened in the past couple of days, but I'm going to limit myself to 5 minutes. Don't you all wish you could limit me to 5 minutes at times? So, I lecture a lot about I like to photograph the person in front of me. I like to photograph the person I'm looking at and the moment and the experience. And I'm all for the posed and the, you know, sculpting with light and sculpting with pose and that's great. And I love that, and that's awesome when I can get that nice crisp sharp photo posed exactly the way the person wants, and that's awesome. But I live for the candid shots that show the real person, that when you look in the mirror, you see the physical you, and everybody to some extent is disappointed with that for some reason. But when the rest of us look at you, we see the beautiful, unique individual that you are. So I say all the time, look, it doesn't matter that the photo's a little bit off or a little bit this or a little bit that. So today I was watching a video on YouTube as I was processing some other stuff, and Marcus Picks, someone I follow on YouTube, came on and he was making the point that photos are history. They are commemorating the moment, and no one's going to care when you're gone that they're a little bit out of focus or the angle wasn't just right or they could see this or that. And but we all walk around. You can make this point. I'm extrapolating from that. We walk around, with these things, and we got to hold them up here, and we got to angle just like this, and we got to make our face look thinner than it is. And we got to make our legs look longer than they are, and we got to, instead of just a picture of you. And I understand that this is a huge issue. I understand that this is a huge thing in society, and this isn't just a flip a switch. I understand that many people struggle with this significantly to extremes, medically and psychologically. I get that, but I recently said to someone, I'm done with that. I can't. Our industry needs to do something about it. We now, yes, you come in and pose and do the portrait and all that, but we need to find a way to not have the next generation deal with what our generation has dealt with, particularly women and young girls, that there are these unattainable goals set out there because of Photoshop, because of, angle of photograph, because of, it's not, I'm not saying don't look your best. I'm saying that you are you, and we all have to accept who we are. And I'm not saying that I do this well either. I'm saying we all need to do this. So my glimmer of hope, young girl taking her portraits, happened she had a cast on. It wasn't really a cast, but a cast of sorts. Okay. And typically people will say, don't include that in the picture, for obvious, okay, they just don't want the picture or whatever. Well, she did. So I rearranged the lights so that we could get to where the cast was, so the cast would be in the photo per her request. Now, when I do that in the middle of a shoot, I will tend to then crack off a couple of shots. I don't refocus, I don't recompose. I just crack off a couple of shots to make sure I've got the lights all positioned properly. Then I say, okay, let's keep going. So then they'll go into whatever pose they were, and boom, we'll continue on. Well, I did that, cracked off shots, took real shots. They came over to the computer and they said, oh, I love that one. Well, it was one of the ones I had just cracked off. I hadn't composed, I hadn't focused, I hadn't anything. It was pretty close, but because they had been in the same spot. So I said, oh, well, that one, the focus is a little off. It's, it's not posed exactly like this. They're like, but I love that one. I love these other ones, but I really want that one too. When you do it, process these. So here was a young girl with a cast on in a photo that wasn't a perfect photo by any means of the imagination, but she loved it. And that to her was her cast, how she was posed. That was her. That is such a glimmer of hope. Now, I understand. And often women more than men, but men too, struggle with this, with their physical appearance. And I don't know how else to help. Like I said, I'm pushing my professional organizations, and I'm not letting up. We need to come up with something, and not just lip service. That's what happens a lot, is lip service. Something needs to change in the psyche. We need to get this through to people, again, particularly women and young girls. But I think for the rest of us, we just need to understand that what we see in the mirror is physical, but what everyone else sees when they look at us is so much more than that. And that is what created this. This occurred because of the life the rest of it lived. And that is what we all see. So To everyone watching, I don't care who you are. And I know there are people I say this to more than others and people I should say this to more. You're beautiful. Deal with it. That's it. Time's up.